it's a cyclical slowdown. In the sense, people say that there are major reforms that need to be undertaken before it can grow. That is the real structural story. I don't think that is responsible for the immediate slowdown. But there are some sort of persistent elements because we've had problems in the financial sector which were not addressed when they manifested. So they become a little sticky. So that is why it will take a little time to get out of it. You need some special measures to help. Well, they are moving very aggressively on this privatization. They got some money from the Reserve Bank. And so because there is a slowdown, obviously tax revenue growth is lower. And therefore some slippage will be there, but it will not be major. And it's in line with even the fiscal responsibility and budget management, which they have been following very diligently. They've really been, on the path bringing down the fiscal deficit, and they're very committed to it. So even that FRBM allows them to have some, expansion in the deficit when there is a fall in growth, which is sort of more than 3% below the potential, right? So then there is some escape clause, because any country, you have some counter-cyclical, what is called an automatic stabilizer. If they cut capital expenditure, infrastructure spending in order to meet the fiscal deficit target, that will slow income growth more and decrease the denominator and increase the fiscal deficit more, right? So during a slowdown, you need to allow it to expand. And I think markets realize that. The session we just had, it's about how globally they're saying governments should borrow at such low and rates of interest are lowest for government borrowing. They should borrow and they should spend, invest. There's so much that they can spend which will make a difference to growth. So I think we should not regard it as a holy cow. They are very committed to a medium-term macro framework, but in the short run, if there's cyclical sort of effects and there's some temporary increase, it's not a big deal. Yes, sir, because of this prolonged sort of liquidity squeeze we saw, which has really reduced purchasing power, you need to think of ways to put money quickly in the hands of the people. And a tax cut is one way to do it quickly, because government spending, etc., takes time. And we are seeing that banks are not lending. So that channel is not working very well. There's sort of risk aversion there. So a tax cut is a solution. But again, there's a problem of the deficit and when revenues are falling. But I think targeted cuts for people, say the lower income groups who have a higher propensity to consume, or because I think the other problem is that this government, they've been replacing the transfers or doing them through this direct benefit taxation, electronic transfers. So earlier there used to be a lot of leakage in the system, which used to go out in the economy. That's not there anymore. And that's one reason money is not reaching people. So they need to do more of that DBT, more transfers where the leakage is less, to get money in the hands of the poor who will really spend. So MG Narega, there's a lot of improvement. It's built a lot of productive assets. So they can do more of that in rural areas and so on. So these they need to identify expenditures and transfers which get money into the hands of those who will spend more the fastest possible way. As I said, we are in a cyclical slowdown. So just now you need to focus on measures that affect the economy quickly, right, to reverse this short term. So there are measures that take effect quickly in this cyclical, so monetary fiscal policy, increasing spending in the economy, increasing demand in the economy. But in the long run, there are a lot of reforms that need to be done, but we have been doing quite a lot, and some of them have a cost in the short term, like the battle against tightening regulations, or there are costs. So we need to be very, and the traditional reform, most economists will say, is labor reform. But that has a lot of political resistance. With this government, this first term, it started with the land, and that led to so much because it's a state subject, all the states get involved, and you lose so much time and political capital in those battles. So I think we need to use technology, which is the positive which we have. For example, improve the databases on land titles, which will make it much easier for the land market to function, for banks to use land as collateral and so on. Or set examples, encourage competition among states to improve their labor laws and so on. So do these reforms strategically, not upfront, which leads to big political battles. So in general, to improve the functioning of markets, to improve health, education is very, very important. If you're giving tax cuts to firms to attract them to invest here, we also need to make sure that skilled labor is available, right? So the kind of skills that are required, set up, make sure that there are institutions that are providing that, and subsidize them or encourage them in other ways.